Tucker Carlson caught up in Joe Biden's censorship regime. Of course, he would go after people that's actually telling the truth. So, we know this has been going on with the Biden administration. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store where I have I Will Not Comply t-shirts as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Release of the Twitter files have become the major catalyst for uncovering just how far Joe Biden's censorship regime went into trying to violate the First Amendment. But what about the other social media companies? Facebook has long been the most active site for political discourse in the United States, and according to newly released emails, Biden's minions were busy at work pressuring its employees to do their bidding as well. Jeff Landry, the Attorney General of Louisiana, who is currently suing the administration over its censorship regime, revealed the documents on Friday, and they show that even Tucker Carlson was caught up in the fray. In the first email, we see Robert Flaherty, the Deputy Director of Digital Strategies for the White House, pressuring Facebook to censor Tucker Carlson. Here's the comment that Carlson made on his show on April 13th, 2021, the day prior to Flaherty's message. Quote, if vaccines is effective, there is no reason for people who've received a vaccine to wear a mask or avoid physical contact. So maybe it doesn't work and they're simply not telling you that. Well, you'd hate to think that, especially if you've gotten 2 shots. But what's the other potential explanation? We can't think of one. Now, just to clarify, YouTube, I was quoting Tucker Carlson. I don't want to strike for this. I was quoting Tucker Carlson. If y'all want to know my views on the jab, you can check out my Patreon where I go into details on what I feel about that. But at the time, the commentary set off a flurry of fact checks. But in retrospect, Carlson was more right than he was wrong. The administration was far overplaying the efficacy of the jab, including their ability to stop the spread of the virus. I mean, this is well known by now. Given the message being put out that the jab were essentially foolproof, it was right to question their truthfulness on the matter. In fact, the White House recently proclaimed again that the stickies can prevent every COVID death in America. That clearly is a false representation of available data. Again, I go over the data in detail on my Patreon, so you might want to check that out. Regardless, when dealing with free speech, the accuracy of a claim is irrelevant. The government is not supposed to use private companies as proxies to quash the First Amendment rights of Americans. That is supposed to be illegal, yet that's absolutely what Flaherty was doing. And based on the second email shown on Landry's post, Facebook was more than willing to play along. Things didn't stop with Carlson, though. Landry provided another example of the White House providing specific examples of materials that need to be censored due to vaccine hesitancy. What's even more incredible is that those headlines turned out to be true. So he basically tweeted out Facebook telling White House how they can censor, and they showed vaccine hesitancy examples and all that other stuff. And he said government censorship is bipartisan. If they don't like you, they will censor you. No one is safe when the First Amendment is violated, and I agree. Many European countries have stopped the vaccination of children from COVID-19, specifically because studies show the risk from the jab outweigh the risk from the virus itself. Again, YouTube, this is not how, I'm not saying this is what I feel about that. For my personal beliefs on that, again, check out my Patreon. It's only $2 a month. This is what the European Union is saying. I have to clarify that. So the White House was telling Facebook to censor content that was arguably true, including from major individuals like Tucker Carlson, almost certainly for political reasons, and the company was happy to oblige. Further, this was happening while Democrat officials were simultaneously making public threats against Facebook about the spread of misinformation. In other words, there was coercion involved in this, and if that doesn't add up to a violation of the First Amendment, then it no longer has any meaning. And then they try to play it off. It's like, oh, we're not telling them to do this. They're a public company. They can do what they want. We're just giving them some of our thoughts, some of our guidelines, our ideas. We're not making them do this. But then again, out the side of your mouth, you're threatening these companies and saying if they don't do it, then you're gonna do something about it, take away their 230 protections and all this other stuff. So I mean, they're saying one thing, but in actuality, they are threatening these companies to censor and take away our First Amendment rights. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out themarkrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.